Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing well out there, waking up, feeling great, having a great start to your weekend. I got you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for your neck of the woods for your Saturday. There's a couple storm systems to talk about, to really get detailed on. Both are impacting the lower 48 right at this moment. So one is bringing an ongoing severe weather threat, which kind of snuck up on us overnight along the Gulf coastline. We will get detailed on that. We will talk about the system that's bringing a ton of precipitation into the Pacific Northwest and will overspread the Rockies throughout the day today. Really already is doing so. So we'll speak on both of these systems. Stay tuned towards the end of the video. We'll give you some information about what we will speak on in great detail in tonight's video. So stay tuned for that. We got a couple systems out ahead of us that we need to figure out. The first two systems won't affect probably a lot of the country, more so just the eastern U.S., but there's a system that's about 8 to 10 days out, which is on out there, I know, but the models are really liking this. They all agree that something is going to happen. So I think this could be I think it could have the potential to be a high impact system for a lot of the country. So we'll speak on that. Like I said, that's on out in front of us, but we will get very detailed on it if it does emerge as a threat, as an impactful storm system here in the coming days. But we will talk about it in tonight's video. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Thank you all for the prayers with being sick. Hopefully I don't struggle too much in this video. I feel fine right now, but you know, after 25 minutes of talking, it might be a different story here in a second. So we'll see how this goes. If you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below so I can do that and so others can do so too. So we're going to start off by looking at the wider vapor loop. You see the white down here in the southeast. That's a lot of moisture riding over the southeast. Now, this is going to be kind of one of those weird days across areas of the southern Appalachian Mountains like the Carolinas, Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, where, you know, it's not going to be a rain all day. You're going to get waves of light to at times moderate rain. But down here along the Gulf coastline, you're going to have a severe weather threat with low pressure riding to the north. Enough warm, moist air riding in from the Gulf of Mexico, getting pulled in north to now create an ongoing severe weather threat. So some of these storms, you know, could produce a tornado. There's a 5% risk of a tornado this morning throughout this morning into this afternoon to this evening in this region. We will speak on that. But this, like I said, this kind of snuck up on us, pulled enough of those ingredients north into the mainland where, you know, obviously where we live. Nobody really lives out in the Gulf of Mexico to create a severe weather threat over land. So we'll speak on that, but this moisture will continue to move northeast, overspread across the mid-Atlantic, and eventually take over areas of the northeast and the I-95 corridor overnight tonight. The middle of the country, you know, is pretty quiet. There will be some energy that flies across the middle of the country and tries to connect with some of this energy to the south. And we will watch for kind of an area of snow that might get developed, that might start to develop across areas of the upper Midwest. So we'll watch for that. And then we got a lot of moisture surging in. You see all the white here. It's a ton of moisture surging into the Pacific Northwest. A lot of strong wind activity. And yeah, this will continue to overspread the northern Rockies and just deliver a good bit of snow to Idaho, areas of Montana, western Wyoming, even sections of Utah, eventually Colorado, northern Nevada, and all those great places like that. So that's what's going on off the water vapor loop. You can see what's going on pretty well, in my opinion. So let's take a look at the radar and what it looks like out there, and let's get this back in good motion here. And here it is. Okay, or not. Let's see if we're working. All right, we're good now. This is a lot of heavy moisture in Washington and even areas of Oregon. Higher elevation snow. It is unloading snow in the Cascades right now. Snow is beginning to move back into Idaho. You've already gotten a lot of snow. There's even an area of winter weather showing up. It's at least showing up on radar in northern sections of Kansas, southern areas of Nebraska. Let me know if you're actually seeing anything from this right here in the middle of the country. But this is definitely falling right down here along the Gulf coastline. Ongoing severe weather threat. Nothing severe warned as of right this second, as around 7:17 a.m. Eastern time. But we do have some snow falling in southern Southern Ontario, not sure how much this is really adding up to. You let me know if you're tuning in from that region. Still snowing a little bit here in northern Maine, but this system is really moving to the north. So most of everybody in the Northeast just seeing some rain from this, waking up to just some chilly rain here in Buffalo, areas of New York. This is definitely just warm enough to where this is no real winter weather with this. But the rest of the country, kind of in the middle of the country, there's not a whole lot going on. A little area of rain moving through areas of Texas. So we move to the Storm Prediction Center. There is a slight risk now, and this is really between now and I would say mid to late afternoon. Slight risk up, level 2 out of 5, marginal risk around it. Notice this does not extend far north at all. Okay, so it's really just a small area, pretty much all of the western panhandle of Florida, very small section of Alabama, and then there is a marginal risk that extends, all the way up to Dothan, all the way into the extreme southwestern corner of Georgia. So, we need to watch out for these sneaky events because sometimes, they can be sneaky. So be aware here in the panhandle of Florida throughout the morning hours, okay? And here it is, there's that 5% risk of a tornado right down here in the brown. That means there's a 5% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in any given location, all right? Wind threat, just a 5% risk of winds exceeding 55 to 60 miles per hour. There's not much of a hail threat with these storms today with the ingredients in place. There is a risk of flash flooding. A few inches of rain could fall in these regions. The yellow stands for at least a 15% risk of flash flood guidance being met down here in this area. So let's be aware of, some of these storms that will just move over the same areas today, and they definitely will down here in Florida and even areas of southeastern Alabama. So watches, warnings, advisories. There's a lot going on up here in the Pacific Northwest and northern Rockies. You got winter storm warnings in the higher elevations, even winter weather advisories in just a few thousand feet up. You got high wind warnings, high wind watches, and kind of the darker brown mixed with yellow color. I don't know what you would call this color. Almost looks like puke. And then here in the yellow mustard color right in here, that's high wind warnings, wind advisories in the tan color. You got flood watches up here in the green. You got ongoing winter weather advisories in the Olympic Mountains Cascades. That's definitely winter storm warnings. A lot of fog throughout the country, dense fog advisories. Here in the gray, flood watches down here for what we do have that slight risk of flash flooding today. So there's a lot going on if you were just to look at the map out here right now. Okay, a lot of snow is going to add up. We got winter storm watches up for Yellowstone. We got a lot of winter weather alerts up here for the Rockies of Colorado. So even the areas of southern Wyoming. So a lot going on for sure. The Southeast, let's break down the severe weather threat. We'll kind of zoom into the severe weather threat here in a minute or two. So give me a second on that and I got you covered. But as far as just the flat out rain today, rain will overspread and really take over central Georgia, southern areas of Georgia. You will have some showers back here and even some heavier rounds of rain back here in the Cumberland Plateau of Tennessee, central Tennessee, and just some showers, as far west as Mississippi. Okay, this will continue to move in. You'll get some shower activity in northern Florida. Oh no, here comes the sneeze. Come on, I was on a roll here. All right, we got rid of it. We're good to go. All right, so look at it. You got a nice round of storms moving through southern Georgia. You got to wonder, would they extend the severe weather threat a little bit further northeast into southern Georgia? We'll see what happens. But we keep this going. It looks like just a rainy afternoon for the low country of South Carolina, and just evening also for just all of eastern South Carolina, some showers. You stop it here, guys. You've got an ongoing storm threat. I think the severe weather threat is decreasing at this point, just because it's getting displaced from a favorable climatic environment. We'll talk more on that here in a second. But you do have some ongoing showers here in northern Alabama. We still got rain up here in the Cumberland Plateau, points west, points east. Not a whole lot of rain this evening falling in the southern Apps. Rain overspreading into the eastern hills of Kentucky, moving into areas of West Virginia. And then you get into the overnight hours right in the middle of the night. Low pressure cutting right across the apps. We call this an apps cutter. And we got rain moving into eastern Tennessee again. We still got ongoing storms down here in the middle of the night, starting to enter kind of the Big Bend region of Florida. And then we start to move into tomorrow morning, and just round after round of rain continues to kind of funnel in for these areas. I told you we would be taking out and wiping out this drought throughout the next couple months. And, you know, I'm not going to back down from that. I don't think anybody is. They even mentioned it from the National Weather Service that we are going to basically take this drought out here in the coming months with this El Nino. And we have really kick-started this southern jet pattern here for sure. But this low continues to chug northeast, and it looks like things will quiet down a little bit more further west as we get into Sunday, but we could get more rain that develops potentially sometime tomorrow, and we could get some beneficial rains in Florida as we get into tomorrow afternoon. But moving a little bit closer, looking a little bit deeper into this severe weather threat today, all the worst storm activity will stay confined to the coastline along the Gulf Coast. All right, and we keep this going, and if you look at just the pockets of reds and oranges, that indicates where probably the best structured storms, the better ingredient driven storms are for severe weather. And, you know, you just got to watch these areas. Tallahassee really points west into this area right here in the Panhandle of Florida. Mobile, you need to even watch out. But really, it's this section right here, the Panhandle of Florida. These storms will try to move from the Gulf of Mexico onshore. It could be one of those situations where a water spout could move onshore. Okay, but once we get into later in the afternoon hours, I think the threat will decrease. But between now and the next, I would say 6 to 8 hours, please be aware of all these storms, okay? You know, this is around here in the next hour. This is getting to about 10 a.m. This is about lunchtime, 1 p.m. You still got storms just surging through these regions. Once you get up here into Montgomery, Birmingham, I think the severe weather threat significantly drops off. But definitely watch out here, kind of in the Macon area. You could get, you know, some rumbles of thunder later on today. But, you know, these are dew points. You know, what I want you to see here is look at the clashing of environments right in here. You got dew points in the 40s in Memphis, but you go down here to the southern sections of Mississippi, you got dew points well into the upper 60s. So definitely a tight gradient out there as far as the air mass. But if you look down here really closely, okay, you got dew points right along the Gulf coastline, hugging the low 70s. So you can check that off as an ingredient thermodynamic wise for severe weather down here. So it's definitely, there's definitely a ton of moist air. Okay, and you know, this is a lot of moist air. I mean, especially for early December standards. So certainly a ingredient for severe weather, that's for sure. And we turn around and we look at the winds and the low levels of the atmosphere, and you know, you got areas aloft that support, you know, maybe a little bit in the way of some rotating updrafts. You know, these are winds about a mile up in the atmosphere, about 30 to 40 knots, about 35 to 45 miles per hour. So winds aloft, you do have some somewhat favorable kinematics right here along and just about an hour inland along the kind of the Gulf coastline. Okay, so you see these little pockets of higher winds aloft. This would support an ingredient for severe weather down here. So we'll definitely be aware of this over the coming hours. So definitely be weather aware down here, that's for sure. You look at the updraft Felicity swath, that, you know, it doesn't look that scary or anything like that, but it does indicate some rotating updrafts between now and Sunday morning with some of these storms with some highlighted colors right into here, indicating where some of these storms could be rotating. Just because a storm is rotating, that don't mean it's dropping a tornado, guys. It just means that it's rotating. So, you know, it's something we always need to watch. As far as rainfall today, but this is just between now and Sunday morning. I mean, Gulfport, maybe another couple inches of rain. Mobile, 2 to 3 inches of rain. All of the central to western panhandle of Florida, 1 to as much as 3 inches of rain. And just all the southern counties of Alabama, guys, 1 to 3 inches. And even getting into southern Georgia, a couple inches of rain is expected. but you're going to add up a little bit of rain here also in northern Alabama, up here near Huntsville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, anywhere from a 1/4 inch to maybe as much as 1 inch of rain. Okay, so we'll watch for that. It looks like the sneeze is going to try to come back. All right, there we go. There's our weekly sneeze. So let's talk about the Northeast here. Trying to figure out the Northeast here. For most of the day today, most of the moisture will ride north of the U.S. line in Canada. We're probably going to get some showers that drift throughout Man, I got a loud bird outside my window. That thing has to be like right at my window. That's cool. Anyways, showers drifting through the state of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire. Like I said, most of this will just be rain. The snow will clear out in northern Maine a little bit later this afternoon. Then we get a break this evening. Not a whole lot going on, but if you look down here at the bottom of your screen, here comes this rain entering the picture. Starts to take over most of the mid-Atlantic region. Rain will pick up here in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia overnight, basically right up the I-95 corridor. Showers throughout the night in West Virginia, Central PA, Eastern PA. We'll take over most of New Jersey. We'll move into New York City after midnight, and then we're waking up Sunday morning to a soggy start for sure with just more rain. You guys have seen just a ton of rain over the last several months, and this will be no different. Another rain, I wouldn't call it a rainstorm, but another just rainy system moving in to start your Sunday morning for sure. A little bit of just enough cold air up here for some of this to be snow, but yeah, we start this off this evening. Not a lot of rain between now and this evening for the mid-Atlantic, but you can see the rainfall starts to add up as we get into the overnight hours. And by the time, we're waking up in Virginia, the Delmarva, all these areas on your screen, you could be waking up to anywhere from a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of rain, enough to certainly wake up to some damp conditions as you're leaving the house for tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. So the South Central U.S., it's pretty quiet today. You're kind of in between both systems, the system out west and the system to the east. And we'll deal with some showers in northern areas of Texas, southern Oklahoma, the potential for some showers throughout the morning, early afternoon hours. These could drift into and then re-get going here in Missouri a little bit later on today. So if you live in Missouri, some cold showers could drift through if you're in Columbia, Quincy, eventually into St. Louis as we get into this evening. If you're out and about in the town, some showers could make their way through later this evening. And then, we start to get into Sunday morning and we wake up to not a whole lot going on. It's snowing in the Rockies pretty good. Maybe a little bit of snow breaking containment east of the Rockies here in northern Colorado. But as far as high-end activity today in the South Central U.S., there's not going to be any. North Central U.S., about the same. Most of the day is pretty quiet. And then here comes that energy I kind of talked about right at the beginning of the video when I was showing you guys the water vapor loop. Some moisture tries to move in from the southwest and becomes more amplified, if you will. And some light snow could begin falling in areas of Iowa. And then some snow could begin falling in the heart of Wisconsin, to southern and southwestern Wisconsin. Some light, maybe at times moderate snow. Some heavier showers down here is possible down here in central and southern sections of Illinois. They could actually drift into the Indianapolis area, just Indiana in general, as we're waking up for our Sunday morning. And we're waking up Sunday morning to potential for snow falling in Green Bay. Milwaukee will be a tough one. Will you be cold enough for some snow, or will it just be a cold rain? We'll see. But it's snowing in the heart of Wisconsin. It is snowing in western areas of Michigan. Okay, this will probably be kind of a wet snow, definitely not a really dry snow, but just kind of waking up. And this is kind of the beginnings of our northern piece of energy that will really amplify and kind of provide energy for all the energy that's, using the term energy about 1 million times, that's already off to the east. And this will provide enough energy for substantial snow potential for the interior sections of the Northeast as we're getting into the second half of the period tomorrow into tomorrow night. So how much snow could fall from this overnight? Well, you can see it showing up here, but as we're getting into the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, the blend of all models throughout now and Sunday evening, going for, you know, a dusting of snow here in eastern Iowa to maybe an inch. You know, the Janesville area, I think it's Janesville, kind of brain farting. A half inch to maybe an inch of snow, a little bit of snow, just enough here in Wisconsin to maybe put a dusting of snow on the ground, and, you know, maybe an inch or two here in northern Michigan, maybe a little bit, maybe a dusting here in the UP of Michigan is possible. So we'll see. Out west, it's very active. I mean, not for everybody, but where it is active, I mean, it's pretty darn active. All right, here's all this precipitation that's in place right now. This will continue to ride over. You will get a little bit of a break today, later this morning, really into this early this afternoon in Washington. And then a lot of the energy will actually shift to the east, and then this kind of the funnel of moisture will shift to the south. So areas of Oregon begin to get blasted by a lot of moisture, Medford, Eugene, Northern California. All this other energy that's moving in this morning begins to move across the northern Rockies. We'll stop it here. This is around 1 p.m., lunchtime, 1 p.m. today. Snowing across Idaho, western Montana. It just all depends on your elevation out here. You guys know this, but you keep on going. And kind of the storm track, if you will, just shifts a little bit further south. And, you know, Oregon begins to get blasted by a ton of precipitation. And, you know, the higher elevations of Oregon begin to add up as far as snow. And then we're getting into Sunday morning, and another round of precipitation begins to move back into Washington as just this kind of fire hose of moisture kind of pivots back and forth to whether it likes Washington or Oregon or Northern California more. But this energy will just continue to ride over the higher elevations and eventually makes it to areas like Wyoming, Colorado in the form of snow. So this is what the radar could potentially look like for Sunday morning, snowing in the Rockies, snowing in the favorable areas in Utah, western Wyoming. It's still snowing in areas of Idaho, but another round on the way. So, yeah, how much precipitation can fall? This is just pure precipitation between now and Monday morning. Almost 10 inches in areas of the higher terrain of Oregon, okay? You got the rain shadow, the precipitation shadow ongoing between the higher peaks, but, I mean, yeah, just a washout incoming. You convert this to snow, guys, and yeah, just going to continue to really add up. Looks like the system becomes a little bit warmer. Therefore, you know, you got to get a little bit higher up for this to fall in the form of snow. But feet of snow will continue to add up between now and the weekend, guys. So, snow in Idaho, a lot of snow will add up out here, and Yellowstone National Park. And yeah, I don't think the valleys of Idaho are going to get as much from this, but you don't have to go very far up for this to switch to just heavy, wet snow. So as far as Utah, let's take a look at Utah. Definitely the higher elevation is going to get blasted with feet of snow in this case. I don't think this is going to get into the southern higher elevations of Utah in this setup. But, you know, you look at Colorado. And I know this doesn't help everybody, but I like to kind of just show everybody in this case. And, you know, the ski country up here in the higher elevations of Colorado, the Rockies, it's really going to pick up a lot of snow over the next few days, that's for sure. So, winds are really going to pick up throughout the day today. And, I mean, we'll stop it like right here. This is around lunchtime, 1 p.m. today. I mean, you got winds blasting across southern Oregon. Anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour. But, you know, you get a little bit higher up, guys. I mean, you got like tropical storm force wind gusts out here, 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts just blasting across the Rockies from these systems to just keep on funneling in. So definitely be aware of this. The lower elevations, winds won't be as strong, but a lot of strong winds in place in these higher mountaintops. And there's a lot of high wind warnings, watches, wind advisories out here because systems just keep bringing wind fields in and all that stuff. So temperatures today, Florida will be warm, well into the 80s. So, you know, if you're taking a vacation to Florida, nice day to do it. It'll be warm, be moist. You'll probably sweat here in December, which, you know, isn't totally uncommon for Florida. It just certainly happens. But Southeast, warm, moist, temperatures in the 60s and 70s. This won't be a nice, sunny 60s and 70s kind of day. It'll be a damp, kind of cloudy, murky kind of day. But definitely above average in the Northeast. Just 40s and 50s. You got to get pretty high up before you get highs just in the 30s. But a chilly day in the Midwest, the northern Mississippi Valley, the upper Midwest. It's chilly. Nothing too crazy compared to average, though. Out west, definitely below average temperature-wise, for sure. A chilly day expected pretty much for just about everybody compared to your average temperatures for this time of the year. But speaking on what's to come, guys, we'll kind of give you some brief information about what we will speak on in detail tonight. And, you know, this first system is the first one we need to watch. And, you know, this isn't going to impact a lot of people. A lot of people won't even be interested in this. But this has a chance to dump some pretty heavy snow in the interior sections of the Northeast. And if you look at the time frame, this is getting into late Sunday and a Monday morning. So we were going to give you some updated information on that one. Okay, and this is the GFS, the latest one. And then a piece of what we call northern stream energy, or you can call it a clipper. Rides in, has nothing to really tap into from the south. But this will move in, bring a little bit of cold air reinforcement behind it. This could bring some snow to the Midwest, the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region. And this has a chance to bring some snow to northern Ohio, maybe Pennsylvania. And I'm really watching for this system to be a bigger event for the higher elevations of like West Virginia. Could be a solid snow event for you folks as we're getting into Tuesday, Wednesday morning. This could bring some snow as far south as the higher elevations of Tennessee and North Carolina also. You know, this is from Wednesday morning, December the 6th. Look at the snow for the higher elevations. Maybe a little snow for eastern Kentucky. All right, there's nothing for this to really tap into. There was some signs that maybe it could, and it still could. Okay, there's a lot of energy flying around. Okay, this could be a bigger system for the Mid-Atlantic or Northeast if it could find some other energy to kind of dig into and to tap into. But for now, models don't like that idea. Okay, and then we'll look at the entire U.S. as a whole. Okay, and I'm just everywhere right now. And all right, we're gonna get into this weekend. Okay, maybe another system for the Northeast, and then I want to watch this system right here. Okay, this is getting into about 8 days from now. This could be a bigger system. Could bring a lot of rain, maybe a severe weather threat, maybe a big time winter storm. This is pretty far out. Okay, but we need to figure that one out, and I want to see what models do with it today. But same thing with the European guys. Shows interior Northeast heavy snow event as we're getting into the end of the weekend, Monday morning. And there goes that clipper energy right in here, bringing some higher elevation snow for the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, and then we zoom out and look at the entire United States. And what does it show? Okay, here it comes. There's that big system right here. Okay, this is getting into Sunday morning of next weekend. Big time low pressure cutting right across the middle of the country. Could be a big time winter storm, could be a severe weather threat, could be many things. But this eventually has to make its way east. So this will be a heavy topic, I think, in the weather world, especially as we get into next week. But how much snow from these first two systems is there? There's the first system right here, right? A lot of snow, maybe from Maine, higher elevations, and northern sections of the Northeast. Could get a big time snow event for the higher elevations of West Virginia with its clipper. Okay, and then what happens after that, we're just not quite sure. But if you look at the 500 millibar heights right here, it really shows that storm signal well. Here it goes. See the energy dropping down in the west? That is a large piece of energy that we need to watch. A bowling ball that typically brings high impact weather. So here it is. It's also showing up on the European too as we make our way through. There's that ridge that builds over the middle of the country. And then there's that big system right there that drops down. Incredible model agreement this far out for sure. So that's all I got. Still not 100% with these videos, guys. I feel like I'm still just not doing as good as I typically do. But we will get it right, guys, just in time for when things get active. You guys have a great Saturday. Like I said, I should have a video later this evening. God bless all y'all. Have a great day.